Of Genoa is a quiet little town, about 150 years old now, with a beautifully restored town hall and another historic building that doesn't get as much attention.
Officially, it's just called the Little Building, and then in parentheses, it's always the old school privy. And then the next question is, well, what's a privy? And it's a bathroom.
Yes, Genoa has an historic outhouse. It's the proverbial brick outhouse with 4 doors for the boys and girls who went to school here and their teachers. But now it sits all by itself on a vacant lot, waiting for a future. It's kind of weird. But what makes this outhouse even more weird, if you will, is that it's on the National Register of Historic Places. That unique design that earned its place on the register was Romanesque Revival, unusual for an outhouse, especially one built in Genoa behind this old school in 1871. It was used for 50 years as a privy, but eventually becoming a Boy Scout meeting hall. In the 1950s, when I went to school here, this is how I remember it. Vacant, mysterious, and falling apart.
And by the time the 70s rolled around, there was sort of an era of historic restoration in the village. And so in the mid-70s, they put together some funds and restored it in 1976.
That restoration effort was led by Tom Bergman's grandmother, Tommy Bergman. She sparked a town spirit that brought scores of willing volunteers to repair the brick and paint the walls and install the patio from old sidewalks.
Yeah, they took an unusual amount of pride in restoring a bathroom. I think they noticed the humor of it too.
Thus, the little building even earned a place on the city's roadside welcome signs. But today, 40 years later, the little building is largely forgotten. And while its Romanesque Revival architecture remains intact, its bushes are overgrown, its windows boarded up, and no one comes to visit anymore. In fact, when we visited, it was the first day in 20 years anyone had been inside to glimpse the vintage brickwork, or look at the ceiling joist or the rafters, or the remnants of some of the items stored inside.
Yeah, it's been used for a whole lot of nothing. There hasn't been much use for an outhouse in a good century. They used to store the snowblower in here, but as you can see, it's pretty much just empty, hanging out.
But Bergman, like his grandmother before him, sees more than just an empty building.
I would love to see it get picked up and moved to the park.
Maybe, he says, to be used as a home